This is Dan Meyer with RCR Wireless News. I'm at the CCA Fall event here in Las Vegas. Joining me today is Steve Berry, President and CEO of CCA. Steve, how you doing?
Doing just fine, and you?
Doing well, doing well. Again, trying to survive another one of your events for the year, so hopefully you're doing okay too.
Yes, we're doing great. Matter of fact, thank you for live streaming our event. I think we've got a lot of people following us, and thanks to you, we're going to get our message out there to a lot more people.
Sounds good, sounds good. Well, I know one of the topics I want to touch on was, I know you guys are doing a lot more work, or continue to do work, with your member carriers about bringing services to the rest of your member body. I think at this show, there's an announcement about some small cell work and some Wi-Fi work as well. Can you, I guess, touch a little bit on how that's going and how that's kind of helping out a lot of your members, being able to provide different services to them?
Yeah, absolutely. Our industry development programs really were born with the concept that small carriers are going to need some help identifying different solutions that may be a lot easier for large carriers to acquire. So the business and industry development programs really compose all the smaller carriers. We have a large turnout of over 50 some people that are part of that group, and we share thoughts and ideas and networking ideas to find solutions, creative solutions. And we just announced an agreement with DeviceScape that will help us on Wi-Fi offload solutions for our members. We signed an agreement with CloudMark to bring spam, malware elimination capability to our customers and our clients, as well as Exacaster is doing some churn prediction, quality churn prediction programs for us. So we think the idea of keeping our small carriers competitive in the marketplace means that we also need to look at business solutions. Our primary goal, our primary mission, as you know, is advocacy.
Yes.
And that's what we're here for. But we also realize not every issue will be addressed at the FCC or on Capitol Hill, and we have to help ourselves. And it is very encouraging to see a collective approach to some of these overbearing issues for the smaller carriers. And I'm quite proud of our carriers for bringing together the best in the class.
Yeah, it makes sense. And obviously, you guys aren't busy enough, so you're just taking on more work for yourself too, which is keeping you out of trouble, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's it's a good thing to have.
Yeah,
and it's especially when you think and you know that our carrier members appreciate it and they're enjoying the networking and the solutions.
Sure. Well, I guess on the advocacy part of it, I know being at some of the panels today, obviously the spectrum auctions coming up are a big topic of discussion. It seems like a lot of discussions going on, around this incentive auction, which is scheduled for next year, but who knows when that'll actually happen, hopefully next year. But there was a lot of discussion about, I guess, the size of some of those licenses. I know some of the larger carriers that you guys work with are looking for perhaps larger license sizes in the EA size, where some of the smaller ones are looking for CMAs. I guess what's the general view from CCA on how that part might play out, and how do you, I guess, balance out those competing interests when it comes to some of your members about wanting different size licenses?
Well, you're right. There are different views. I mean, some of the larger carriers would like larger areas, but it's not anything new. I mean, in the last auction 73, we had 3 different sizes of spectrum licenses, and what we're trying to do is let's find constructive solutions where we can bring all our carriers together. We know that everyone agrees that every carrier should be able to bid, and that no 2 carriers should walk away with all the pie. So I think we have agreement on that. I think we have agreement on spectrum aggregation issues, that there should be some limitation of how much of the pie one particular carrier could walk away with. And in reality, every carrier needs spectrum. It's the lifeblood of their business, and if they want a future, they have to get to 4G, and they have to provide better speeds, better capacity. And I think our members are up to the task. I think T-Mobile and Sprint have been very supportive of helping us find this innovative way to find CMAs or a smaller geographic area that smaller carriers can not only bid on, but have some expectation of actually winning. I mean, they're not going to get it cheap, believe me, but they're going to be competitive. I think there's agreement there should be bidding credits for the smallest of carriers. So we're closing in on, I think, some principles that all of our members are in support of, and I think it's I think we're going to have some positive impact on the auction rules themselves, and hopefully every one of our carriers will have an opportunity to grow and thrive in this 4G world.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, at least seeing the different members on some of these panels, even from Sprint or T-Mobile, and the small guys, they do seem to at least be positive and constructive in discussions. They're not, it's not a lot of finger pointing and, hey, we want this, we want that. T-Mobile seems to realize that, yeah, maybe you do need some smaller licenses, and even the small guys realize that it might be a little complicated that way too. So it does seem like they are working together at least to try to find some sort of solution to this too.
There's a healthy exchange of views, and I couldn't miss the opportunity to talk about Chairwoman Clyburn.
Yes.
She came today and she talked about this, and she talked about the need for competition in the marketplace. It's very clear that she did not want the lack of interoperability to be an impediment in the 600 megahertz arena. And I think she almost got a standing ovation on that alone. But on the interoperability issue, she has made phenomenal inroads and to come up with a business solution that I think sets the stage for this incentive auction and the need to have interoperability, not only 700 megahertz lower band, but 600. Our carriers now will have access to over $2 billion of spectrum they already bought, and they will hopefully start to provide these services to the consumers in rural and regional areas. And I think that was the difference for Chairwoman Clyburn. She wanted an answer to her plea to find a solution, and boy, I tell you, it couldn't come at a better time. And I think the standard she set for making the industry come together with solutions was truly remarkable. I think it was leadership at its best.
Yeah, I think definitely her time as chairwoman will be short, but she's definitely setting a pretty big precedent for Wheeler coming in to follow through with a lot of things that she's done, at least involving wireless. She's done quite a bit in a short amount of time.
And she certainly has, and she identified her topics of issues and what she was going to do, and by gosh, she has rolled up her sleeves, got there in the middle of it, and she's produced, and we couldn't thank her more. And as you know, we gave her our 2013 Competitive Carriers Competition Champion Award today, and I think she appreciated it.
Yeah,
so
I know you encouraged her to show it on her desk at the convention too. So
I thought that would be appropriate place for. It's a win for everyone, and and I appreciate the fact that she took time to come here. And as you know, there was some real tragedy going on in Washington D.C. with the shootings, and she was on that airplane that got delayed that couldn't come out. So that was really appreciative. All of us were appreciative of that. So. And we heard from Neville Ray today also, really candid, straightforward discussion about.
One bad word, I think. Maybe a few.
Yeah, there might have been.
T-Mobile out there apparently.
Yeah, but I thought it was very candid expression of where the uncarrier carrier is going, and quite frankly, I think he showed that there is a lot of issues that a larger carrier such as T-Mobile and Sprint shares with our smaller competitive carriers. Some of the same challenges, even at their size, they have some of the same difficulties of getting access to devices. As you know, this is the first time they will ever be able to compete on the iPhone at the same time that the other large carriers have it. So I think there was a lot of support in the audience for his concern and frustration over the competitive framework of the industry, and I think that's one reason why they're here. And I am so glad that they want to partner with us and help us, and I think we're going to do good things together. Yeah,
well, obviously, I know with Sprint with the spring show, they were there. Dan Hesse was there. T-Mobile here at the fall show. It definitely shows that they are not just token members, I guess, of CCA. They seem like they're pretty involved and really encouraging the other carriers to get involved and to contact them about partnerships or roaming or whatever it is. They're saying, hey, come talk to us. So it's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that regard, we just have board elections, and we elected their executive committee, and both Sprint and T-Mobile are now on the executive committee and members of the board, and it's good. It's good to have different ideas and concepts that they can talk peer to peer. And I think we're going to benefit from their continued presence.
Yeah, well, I just need 2 more members on your board and you'll be all set, or 2 more members, some larger carriers out here that are out there. If you get them, you'll be set.
We're more than welcome to take any carrier that wants to join an open ecosystem. And, actually, there some of our members are having a little better relationships with some of the larger carriers. You know, we do have maybe 18 members that are LRA partners with Verizon, and I think they're being evangelistic carriers of our message to some of the large carriers, and we hope that there's going to be some progress there too.
They're infiltrating the big red, I guess, at this point. So.
We're sharing ideas.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
Well, good. Well, another topic I want to touch on quickly was the other auctions coming up, scheduled for next year. I know the FCC just came out and said they're going to have the H block early next year, and there's also plans for the AWS 3 auction later next year. I guess I don't. It seems a little bit that maybe those are getting overlooked just because of the 600 megahertz incentive auction is such a big auction for a lot of people. Maybe I guess talk a little bit about the value of those other auctions. I mean, it's 50 or 60 megahertz coming on board for carriers to use. It's good spectrum as well. Are we overlooking those auctions? Do you think, or are they going to get enough attention?
You're very right to focus on those, because that'll be the first spectrum auctions that'll be coming out of the block. We just heard from the FCC that the H block will be in January, and they'll have rules for that. And then we expect the AWS 3 in late fall, and some have said as early as September of 2014. So you're absolutely right and correct to focus on those two. It's interesting. It's available spectrum that can be put to use immediately, and some people thought that maybe it was being overlooked. I think that there were a lot of people looking at it. Maybe they weren't just as vocal because they would like to be able to participate in the auction with a lot. Dish just agreed in the 700 megahertz solutions to a minimum bid on H block, and I certainly know I have a couple other members that are extremely interested in that. Yep. And then obviously the AWS 3 is a huge potential pickup for at least 2 or 3 of our large members and a lot of our small members. So the other thing is it's going to produce a lot of revenue. Yeah. And the Spectrum Act, which was 2012 legislation, will take a lot of those funds and can go to FirstNet. So that's a high priority on Congress, on the Hill, and at the FCC and the administration. Yeah. And I think that's you're right to focus on those, because that's an early funding mechanism for FirstNet. And I, quite frankly, think that both those blocks will probably exceed the $7 billion that FirstNet is looking for. So, but you're right, the 600 megahertz is very complicated. Yeah. Listen, this is beachfront property, if there ever was a beachfront property, and it'll be a long time before you'll see spectrum of this quality come back to the marketplace. So everyone's focused on it because of the challenges in deployment, but also the great opportunity, because this spectrum makes you more efficient just by the nature of it. So. No, I think people like you are going to keep us focused on those, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to focus more on that. Well, before we lose your voice here, I want to make sure we touch on one more topic I know that's been near and dear to you guys for a while, is handset unlocking. I know there's been some more work on that, I think, recently about kind of making sure that customers can take their phones between carriers. I guess maybe an update from you on how that's progressing, and are you guys satisfied with how it's progressing, or are you guys hoping to get a little more action on that front?
Well, we've been a leader in encouraging legislative solutions to what I think was a very poor decision by the Library of Congress. I testified in front of the Library of Congress forum over there and said, you should not remove the exemption on handset unlocking for customers and consumers. It was a poor consumer decision, and I think Congress has reacted to it, and so has administration. I understand that we worked hard on the Congressman Goodlatte's bill, and there's a companion bill in the Senate, and I think it goes right to the heart of the issue. Can carriers and third parties help consumers unlock their devices and take them to another network? And I'd like to see more progress on it. I understand that NTIA sent a letter to FCC and had made some encouraging statements of the need to move forward on unlocking. I tell you, Chairwoman Clyburn today said pretty clear that she wanted to see progress on that. And, I think people will take her seriously when she says, I want something done. So I would like to see legislation move. I think we have a very specific targeted solution that gets us what we need, gets the consumer what they need, and allows the consumer to not have to be a virtual MacGyver in order to, to unlock their handset themselves. And they can take that product and that device that they paid good money for, meeting the carrier's requirements, and take it with them to another carrier. So I'd like to see faster movement on it, but I'm very pleased that Congressman Goodlatte's insistence that they move forward. I think he's going to bring all the parties together here in a few days. My understanding is, and say, guys, consumers need a solution, and I want to provide it. So we're strongly with him.
Yeah, it seemed like connected with that, with the announcement last week from AT&T about working on the band class 12 and band class 17 interoperability. It seemed like there's definitely some movement happening now, at least with consumers getting more choices, and like you said, for some of the small guys to use some of that spectrum as well, and benefit the consumer at the end of the day. So
absolutely, and that unlocking is meaningful when you have other networks to go and roam on. Sure. And so interoperability was key to ensuring effective use of those devices after they're unlocked. So I think that was a good week for consumers. It's certainly a good week for us, and I hope that unlocking will be another opportunity for us to praise the FCC and the U.S. Congress.
That sounds good. Well, appreciate it. Well, Steve, thanks so much for the time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure, and thank you for being here.
No worries at all. Thanks a lot. All right.